When my husband died, the house didn't go quiet all at once. It happened in pieces. First, the mornings. No kettle whistling at 6 a.m., no newspaper folded neatly on the table, no voice asking if I'd slept well even though he already knew the answer. Then the evenings, no footsteps in the hallway, no soft cough from the other side of the bed, no familiar weight beside me when I turned over in the dark. But the silence that hurt the most came months later, when my own son decided I was no longer a mother, just a tenant. After the funeral, Daniel insisted I move in with him. "You shouldn't be alone, Mom," he said, his hand on my shoulder, his voice gentle enough to convince me he meant it. "This house is too big for one person anyway." I sold my home of 36 years, the place where I raised him, where I painted his bedroom blue and later watched him repaint it black as a teenager, where I kissed scraped knees and packed school lunches and waited up late when he went out with friends. I told myself it was practical, logical, a fresh start. I didn't know it was an eviction in slow motion. Daniel lived in a modern townhouse, clean lines, grey walls, everything sharp and new. His wife, Melissa, smiled often but never with her eyes. She hugged like it was a social obligation, not affection. At first, things were fine. I cooked dinner a few nights a week, did laundry without being asked, stayed out of the way. I reminded myself constantly, this is their home now, be grateful. 3 months in, I noticed little changes. My groceries were labeled. My food shelf in the fridge got smaller. The guest room, my room, was repurposed as an office during the day, meaning my things were moved, stacked, sometimes misplaced. Then came the meeting. Daniel asked me to sit at the dining table one evening. Melissa was already there, her phone face down like a silent witness. He cleared his throat. "So we need to talk about expenses." I nodded, already uneasy. "The cost of living has gone up," he continued. "Mortgage, utilities, groceries. It's only fair everyone contributes." I reached for my purse immediately. "Of course, just tell me how much." He slid a piece of paper across the table. $1,200 a month. I stared at it, thinking I'd misunderstood. "Rent?" I asked softly. "Yes," Melissa said quickly. "Well, contribution." My chest tightened. "Daniel, I'm your mother." "I know," he replied, avoiding my eyes, "but this is the market rate for a room in this area. Honestly, it's generous." Generous? I had raised this boy on one income when his father was laid off. I'd skipped meals so he could have seconds. I worked night shifts and still showed up to school plays with tired eyes and a proud smile. And now I was being charged market rate to exist in his home. "I can't afford that," I said quietly. "My pension." "Well," Melissa interrupted, "maybe you can cut back or dip into savings." "Savings?" "The ones meant for my final years, for medical bills, for dignity." I folded the paper carefully and stood. "I need some air," I said. No one stopped me. That night I didn't sleep. I stared at the ceiling, listening to the hum of a house that no longer felt safe. I realized something painful but clarifying. I wasn't family here. I was a financial inconvenience. By morning, my decision was made. I didn't argue, I didn't beg, I didn't remind Daniel of the past. I packed. Only essentials, clothes, photos, my husband's old watch. When Daniel came home that evening, the room was bare. "Mom," he called out, panic edged his voice. I stepped forward, keys in hand. "I'm moving out," I said calmly. "What? Why?" He looked genuinely confused. "You set my rent at $1,200, I replied, "so I found a place where I'm treated like a person." "You didn't even talk to us." "I did," I said gently, "you just didn't listen." Melissa crossed her arms. "You're overreacting." "No," I smiled sadly, "I'm responding." I left before either of them could say more. My new apartment was small. 1 bedroom, 2nd floor, no elevator. The carpet smelled faintly of detergent and old books. The kitchen was barely bigger than a closet. But when I sat on the edge of the bed that first night, something unexpected happened. I breathed. No tension, no walking on eggshells, no feeling like I owed my existence to someone else. I slept better than I had in months. The next few days were quiet, peaceful. Then on the fourth day, my phone buzzed. Missed call. Then another. Then 5 more. By the time I checked, there were 35 missed calls. All from Daniel. I didn't answer. Not right away. When I finally did, his voice cracked through the phone. Mom, where are you? Why aren't you answering? We need to talk. I'm fine, I said. What's wrong? What's wrong? He laughed nervously. Everything. Melissa's stressed, the bills. Mom, this place is expensive. I was silent. He continued, slower now. We didn't realize how much you were covering. Groceries, utilities, cleaning, childcare when we go out. You were doing a lot. Oh, there it was. I hadn't been a burden. I'd been a backbone. We can lower the rent, he offered quickly, or forget it altogether. You can come back, please. I looked around my tiny apartment, at the chipped mug on the counter, at the sunlight slipping through cheap blinds. No, I said. What did you mean, no? I mean I'm not coming back. There was a pause, then anger. You're punishing us. No, I replied calmly, I'm protecting myself. Another pause, this one heavier. Mom, he said quietly, I didn't mean to hurt you. I know, I said, that's what hurts the most. We didn't speak for weeks after that. When we did, things were different. He apologized, not the rushed kind, the kind that takes effort. Melissa stayed mostly quiet. I didn't move back. I didn't need to. I had my own space, my own rules, my own worth. Sometimes love doesn't break loudly. Sometimes it hands you a bill and waits to see if you'll pay it. I didn't. And for the first time in a long time, I felt rich.